We have finished the 4 days across the Midlands and up to Sheffield. We're finishing in Sheffield on 3 sites where we've had some very positive feedback. Obviously here, promoting the great work the Lighthouse does. Initially, everyone thinks mental health, but as we've been telling them, there's physical and financial health as well. And, well, there's been a very common thing, Rob, in my eyes, that people are thinking we're going to turn up, either try and sell them something or actually going to deliver a really boring talk. But by the end of it, they're blown away, aren't they?
Yeah, they're absolutely blown away, and they're realising that there's more than just the mental health side of things that the Lighthouse can provide for the industry. There's the financial and physical side of it, and we reel off probably 1% of what the Lighthouse deliver and give to the industry, and they're like, oh really, they do that? I didn't know they did that. And can they help me with this? And my son's with this, and my daughter's that, and my mum's got this problem. Like, yep. And it just shows that the services that they provide for our industry are so needed. They're so needed, and people really need to realise that they're there and they can use them whenever they want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
What amazed me, Lee, is yesterday wasn't that busy in Travis, but one of the guys that worked there I ended up speaking to in section twice, getting the help he needs, but he was totally unaware of the Lighthouse. And that's sadly a thing that's becoming quite evident, is we need to get the name out there. But being your first tour, how have you felt? Because this isn't the norm for you. You've had to jump in a van with us two. You've been thrown into construction sites. How's it been?
I think, for me personally, what I found is that when people initially come up to engage, they're very sceptical. Very, very sceptical. And I think
because of the bravado,
yeah, basically,
I'm right.
And I think when you kind of stand there and you talk to them on a level, all of a sudden you can just see them drop their shoulders and go, yeah, I get that. And what I have noticed as well, which has been quite prevalent, is that people are coming up after and going, look, I'm struggling with this, will they help me with that? So they're engaging enough to ask questions because they want to know what kind of support there is there. Even though we cover as much as we can, there's going to be something that's very significant to that individual that they will go. Like a guy yesterday was asking me about a divorce. You know, he's going through a divorce with his missus, and she wants now money, and you know, now they're going through a tribunal. And I was talking to him about the impact of that. You know, as much as he said he's got the divorce sorted, the impact of the divorce itself, you know, emotionally will start to affect it. And just before he walks away, he went, like, just talking to you for that 5 minutes has really, really made a difference. And I think it's just allowing that person that little bit of space, that little bit of time. Sometimes it's just enough. But I've loved it. It's opened my eyes so much that so many people out there are not aware of the charity, and so many people out there are not aware of just how much they keep to themselves and how much they struggle behind closed doors.
One thing which this one more than the others, and I'm tenting because Lee just touched my inner thigh under the table. No one can see that. Hopefully the table is covering up my
just declares
throbbing. One thing that's more so on this is more people wanted one-to-ones. Do you think there's scope, or would it be too much to have someone with us that can go and sit down with someone for half hour, 40 minutes and have that one-to-one? Because we've had a lot this tour, and I think it's going to get worse because of this recession.
Yeah, I think it is, and once the word starts getting out there and people understand what we're about when we come to see them, they might say, oh, I was on another site and the van came to see us and this is what they're doing all about. And certain individuals might go, right, well, I'm going to come over and see what it's all about, and they might already want to come and have that chat with us. So if there is somebody there on the side when we are delivering the talks, possibly, yeah, that could help. Definitely.
Now, one thing which we're all aware of, it's definitely out there, it's being picked up in the press, and it's going to hit us like a train, I believe, is this dip, this recession, whatever you want to call it, coming up. Lee, from what you've seen this week, there's obviously a lot of stresses on, especially tier one stuff, that Rob's sort of background, but now we've got the financial side of it, with people possibly having less hours, losing their jobs, not working as much. Do you feel, what would you do more of to get this out? Apart from these tours, which we know are great, we know they're working, what other things would you look at? Because this recession is going to be a big one, methinks.
Publicity. I just think that every...
What type of publicity though? Because it's
social media, it could be radio, TV, adverts, anything that's just going to raise the profile. These tours are so important. because you're meeting people tangibly, physically, and they're coming up to you, which means then they're going to go and tell their mates, and it's going to create a ripple effect, because they're seeing that people that are supporting them have been through similar. And that's always a good way to connect people, because you've already got someone that understands how it feels. And then when you can make that connection with somebody, you don't have to go into too much detail, because they get it. You know, some people just don't have the capacity to talk about their feelings, but they still struggle. And if you can help them find the words, you know, in that sense, it's good. But the profile, tours. I just think the more you see it, the more these vans you see, the more it'll be recognised, and people will go searching for it. And then when they start searching for it, they start telling their mates, and that's how it starts. It's just literally one person says one thing, and another, and another, and another. It's like coffee, you know, you go and find a decent coffee shop, tell your mate, and they'll all start piling in there.
Rob, this tour for me has been a little bit different to other ones. And I don't know the real reason for that, but what I've seen, people have been more receptive than on other tours. So here we are in Sheffield, right in the city centre, and as we said at the beginning, the reception from the 3 sites we've been on has been warm, wanting to listen, and that's great, but we've still got to break down this, because they've all said it. No, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm not doing it. You're good at this. This is your experience. How would you encourage and get these rough, tough, strong, male-dominated sites to go, come on, the work, mate? Because that is the hardest thing.
It is. It's allowing people to have that space to show their emotions and talk about what they're doing, and it's not going to happen overnight. But it takes individuals, no matter what level they are within that site, whether they are somebody on the tools or somebody working within the office side of things, they can stand there and show their emotion in front of everybody else and a little bit of vulnerability. They're allowing people to do the same thing. They're giving them permission, even though they don't need permission, but it's that snowball effect or ripple effect that, well, one person's done it, if they can do it, I can do it. If we can be there to support and reassure them and give them that extra help that they're seeking, whatever that might be, across the sector of the services that the Lighthouse provide, then that can only be a good thing, and it's the betterment for people on site. Because we do work, the biggest thing you'll notice, like, so when we were on the Lend-Lease job, look at the facilities that place had. Unbelievable facilities. They had a gym there, they had a cafe there, it was clean, tidy.
Let's just focus on the food for a minute.
Yeah, the food was unbelievable. But that makes for a better working environment. People are happier. And yes, there is times when they're stressful, and no matter what you do, there's always going to be stress in your life. And if I'm honest with you, I think you need a little bit of stress in your life to keep you focused and on the edge and keep going with it. But there is times when you do need to have them quiet time, or go and chat to somebody and take 5 minutes, have a coffee with them, or a drink, whatever that might be. And if you're encouraging your staff to do that, and you're giving them a space to do that, and they are willing and able to do that, then you are going to get far more production out of your team. You're going to have a happier workplace, and the jobs will get done to a better standard, and probably better time keeping as well, because people are happy and they want to come to work and want to be in that environment. It's they go, I just have Monday off, or I don't want to go into work because it's a stressful area, and the toilets are horrible, the canteen's horrible, I'm always covered in crap, there's nowhere to get clean, or it's all very basic facilities. Whereas that job is a testament, really. You go upstairs and you think you're in a Google office, wouldn't you, or something like that. It was all glass and swish, and it was really, really nice place to be. And I know not every job's going to be like that, but if we can start making small little changes, or encouraging people to make small little changes, and giving the staff these things, and people might think, it's extra cost of the job. Might be a little bit extra cost of the job on the prelim side of things, but ultimately you get so much more out of your staff. They've got a better work environment, and they become more productive.
More hours, they're not going to be off sick with stress and
exactly,
everything else. You mentioned visibility. Mm-hmm. One thing I was going to ask you if you're surprised at, or actually it's what you expected, why haven't we got big posters with the Lighthouse, or even anything else on, promoting There's Help out there, all over the hoardings on these sites? If you looked at where we've just been, there's hoardings everywhere, not one poster.
Yeah, I was really surprised. To be honest, I was really, really surprised that I didn't see anything that would show me that I am seen or heard. because, you know, going back to when we was at the prison, the inclusivity that I saw up there was incredible. You know, males and females working together, doing the same sort of job in the same environment. You know, the food, the areas, everything was designated for everybody. And even on the doors and things, and even in the toilets, I was seeing, you know, the kind of support that they could get. But as far as Lighthouse Club was concerned, you know, I was surprised that there should be more. There should be more.
I think there is stuff there, but I think it needs.
It's not visible.
It's not visible. It needs changing up a bit. I think it needs a refresh. You've got to
So
look at the van.
would you look at?
I would mimic what's on the van.
Yeah.
People see
Agreed. And I'm thinking it's going to come down to that horrible bloody word, money.
Not necessarily.
No. But so would you say lend lease or this site here should pay for it, or should maybe the Lighthouse perhaps look at getting a sponsor to have X thousand posters done and sent to these sites? Because at the end of the day, it's not something the Lighthouse has got the budget for, as much as we'd like to, but having some really decent posters, you know, it'd be great to have a brand associating with promoting this on that hoarding there, or that site there, or this prison there, or that new build site there, because I haven't seen many posters. I think that would be a start.
I think the posters just get. The problem with the bigger sites is you have that many things that are on a notice board, it can get lost on a notice board. And if you
out on the gate to come in.
Yeah, exactly. But if you've got something that draws your eye to it as you come in sight or as you're out on site or wherever it might be, then that is a different way to stand out within a busy crowd.
Wrapping up. It's always good to do the positives and negatives, what we could do better, and what's your overlasting memory apart from the food on the prison site?
My overlasting memory is how much you physically see the change in people's faces. You'll start to come up and they're like, don't want to know, not interested, and they're like, at the end of it, like, do you know what, mate, I really enjoyed that. Thank you for that.
I needed it.
You've changed my opinion on things. For me, that's what it's all about. If we can do that, and then what will happen there is they will go out on site and they will reinforce our message. And if we do turn up to another site and they're on that site, they'll go, oh no, honestly lads, it's all right. I went and listened to it on another job. Go listen to it.
Yeah.
It's slowly. All we're doing is we're slowly building a new culture within our industry and moving it forward, and it can be kicking and screaming to stay back where it was, but it's got to modernise and it's got to come to the future. And there's people out there, the likes of Lend-Lease and all the other places, that are doing their best to get it to there. For me, that's my biggest lasting memory of what stood out on this tour.
I don't know why this tour's been different. It's been a lot more, and then by the end of it,
yeah, massively,
we're making a difference.
Yeah,
we're getting
absolutely.
Your Virgin on tour, your everlasting memory from this?
I think the fact that people's initial perception to their actual attitude, how that changed. You know, from coming in and going, oh God, it's another one of these talks to, right, I get this. I think when you find a common language with people that they get, that they understand, like you're sitting and talking to a geezer in a pub or with a calf about something and they connect with that, you can see the difference because the shoulders go down, they sit up more straight and they become more engaged. And I noticed that every single talk that we did, even me standing in front of people, I was totally out of my comfort zone, but where they were relaxing, I was relaxing. And I was engaging completely different with them because I was seeing how they was engaging back with us. And I think, like Rob was saying, changing the culture is changing their attitude. Changing their attitudes because we're making them more aware of the mental health and physical wealth and your sort of stability, and that comes from how you see things yourself and what you give yourself. And I think when you start to see things differently and just even reposition yourself slightly different, your whole attitude changes. It really does. And then you start to talk about things differently as well, rather than just that mental health thing. It's like, what those three blokes spoke about was really cool because they mentioned this, and this. And I didn't realise that connected with that and linked in with that. They're already made aware, you know, and for them, they've already been more self-aware and then they've improved their development on themselves. So that's what I liked. I like that attitude. It was really cool.
Tour number 5 for us, and each tour's been slightly different in its own way, which is brilliant because it gives us different perspective from different areas of the country, different pressures of big sites, small sites, residential, commercial, etc. And one thing which we're doing is able to put all of this together to make sure the next one's even better. And as you said, Rob, we are changing the culture. Good God, it's going to take time because there's 1.5 billion trades. Add in your management, health and safety, building inspectors, architects, structural engineers, QSs, the list goes on. We've got millions to reach, but we're doing the big sites, we're doing the small sites. Word is spreading, and as you said, Lee, seeing that change in their face, it's not an easy thing for us to walk in front of 10, 20, 50 lads, mainly, and go, right, we're here, and they're like, what are you on about? Time they leave, we've all said, the whole perception of what we're talking about and what we're promoting is different. It's going to take time, and this is early doors, but we'll get there. We're looking forward to the next one. We're putting together all the positives, tweaking the negatives until this runs like clockwork, and I cannot wait to get out on the next one. And I'm sure you're the same and you're the same, but when I get stuck in my homemade ply box, which I've already done because the cost of materials is going up so much, I want to say everyone in construction knows about the Lighthouse, and I will get there. So will Rob, so will Lee, and we're going to make a difference.
Absolutely.